Everything you need to know about this knife is in this video. North Mountain Blade Dwire. This company rolled into our markets slowly, but it's here to stay, and tonight we'll discover why. Some of that becomes obvious as soon as you open the box. This knife comes with a full, I repeat, full set of replacement hardware, down to the last screw, washer, and spacer, which in my opinion is a total overkill. For example, why would you include a lock bar insert if it requires experience and knowledge to replace one? But that's what they do. They overkill. And this knife will illustrate it to you beyond the shadow of any doubt. We'll start with the case that it comes with. It's weatherproof and stackable if you own more than one North Mountain blade. Even though I often critique companies for using overly fancy, expensive packaging, these cases kind of triggered something in my survival brain. They have nesting features on top and bottom. You can store sensitive items long term. These are water and airtight. They even have provisions to strap them together using hook and loop or any other method. And there are a couple loops and holes to attach them to your gear. Alright, I think you're ready to see the knife. The name of the knife, DWYER, is after Dwayne Dwire, a former partner with Mick of Strider Knives, hence the strong, undeniable resemblance. I don't know why they split up, but because they were equal partners in Strider Knives, they have equal rights to the intellectual property. So if you're wondering why this pocket clip is identical to the Striders, Dwayne has the right to copy anything that was designed and implemented before 2017. If you're familiar with Striders, you know they cannot do this. I almost said out of the box, but there are no boxes. All Striders arrive to your doorstep in a Ziploc bag. Rock-solid blade engagement is what this knife inherited from Strider. And I have a video on how to make Strider run almost as smooth as this one. Here's a MagnaCut Blade Show 2025 limited edition SNG, or Sierra November Golf in military speak, which I grabbed straight from the table and then later reviewed on this channel. Here's another MagnaCut blade with a gunner finish grips, titanium and G10. North Mountain applied DLC coating to the blade and the handles, and the milling on the frame is actually just as extensive as on the gunner grip. And here's SMF, the larger version, basically the same knife, a little more heavy duty. See how they compare in size. The pocket clips are near identical and look to be interchangeable. All are made out of titanium. Strider SNG on the bottom and the SMF on the top have straight back handles without any contouring, as opposed to the North Mountain contouring and curving the handle to be a little more ergonomic. Whether it is or isn't, I'll determine throughout the review. And here's the show side of all these three knives. Clearly they share the same design roots. Let's talk about that. In my little Strider collection, I happen to have a fixed blade Whiskey Bravo Mod 10, which is their very, very early fixed blade they used to make in small batches, usually based on military unit or police unit orders. Back in those days, they also made a model called Golf Bravo, which was identical in size to Whiskey Bravo. The Sierra Mike Foxtrot model was designed to make it more carryable. The handles on all Striders are designed to be handled by a tactical operator with gloved hands. And while I understand that the blade coating is applied to reduce reflection and glare, I hate Cerakote for what it does to the blade's hardness, and I love DLC coating because while this fixed blade looks used, it has never been carried, and this Dwire with DLC coating will look like new for a very long time. An even more unique Strider fixed blade is this Sierra Alpha GG or gunner grip knife. Judging by a much more ergonomic handle and completely different blade shape, it was not designed to fill the same niche as their previous fixed blades. Only 300 of these ever existed. These letters, Charlie, Sierra, Oscar, followed by a number, represent critical skills operator, followed by his individual assigned number, conceptualized, ordered, paid for, and distributed solely amongst Marine raiders, and not available to anyone else to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, you have to squint real hard to see the resemblance, but it's there. Knives that Dwire has almost no resemblance with are North Mountain's own Chop Crossbar and Chop Plus. I like these knives. I did a review on them. There are some questions still in my mind, and since I'm not affiliated with any knife makers or retailers, I will not be providing any links to any of the knives you see here today. Enough talk, let's do what we do on this channel, starting with a blade thickness just over 4 millimeters. Handle thickness of 13.5 millimeters. Let's switch to inches real quick here. And we get 536 thousandths of an inch on the handle. And the blade thickness would be 162 thousandths of an inch. So pretty beefy. Let's throw it on my EDC meter board to get the rest of the dimensions. 8¼ inch overall length, which is 210 millimeters. 3.6 inch blade length, 92 millimeters. And the cutting edge length measured properly is 3 inches exactly, including the tanto section. And in millimeters it is 76 mm. Let's take a close look at the cutting edge using this inexpensive microscope that has USB-C connection and can be plugged into any handheld device or tablet. And this $20 to $30 item became an indispensable tool in my sharpening arsenal, which I highly recommend and provide a link to in the description. Let's see the secondary bevel, what most people call the edge. Let me turn it so you can see the apex. Almost an invisible line at the apex. It indicates that it is very well sharpened. And it is also lightly honed and properly stropped, indicating a high level of professionalism in whoever sharpened this knife. Because of the small radius at the tip, I would score the tip 8 out of 10. Now let's take a look at the sharpening choil area, where the primary bevel grind line meets the edge. There is no issue with the plunge line, however, the sharpening angle varies from one side of the blade to the other, indicating that somebody might have applied a little too much pressure when sharpening this blade. Behind the edge thickness is 20 thousandths of an inch, a hair over 0.5 millimeter. I ran out of paper towel tubes, so I'm recycling the one from another video. Ooh, good bite in. Right away. That hollow grind really works, but then the overall thickness stops you from just slicing right through. And this sharpening choil feature, which by the way came over from the Strider knives, I hate it. It catches on everything. Should have left it behind. I was actually surprised by how well the tanto section cut through, participated in a whole cut. Decent sharpening. I have nothing negative to say here. And now let's try even harder test, the paper towel. It clearly bites in and cuts. It's not tearing. It's like cheapest, thinnest paper towel. Try that at home if you don't believe me. It's a really hard sharpness test. Try it with your sharpest knife. Hiya! And that's what makes this tanto shape so tactical. Let's see against a hardened target here. Zip tie removal is a common function that pocket knives do, right or wrong or indifferent. It cut. Let's see. Let's put some stress on that edge. And I don't feel any rolling or chipping or anything like that. Let's try it against the paper towel. Okay. A little bit less aggressive now. Yeah. Definitely degraded some just from one zip tie cut, and believe you me, zip ties are not the easiest thing to cut out there. Let's see if it will hone well, because this steel is supposed to hone really well. CPM 3V, that is. If it's, of course, heat treated properly. Not overly hardened, not under hardened. I feel like I am not actually fighting any burrs or any new edge roll. Nice and smooth. No problems here. Let's see that paper towel again. Fresh piece. See, I spare no expense for you guys. Please subscribe and become a regular viewer on my channel. Yeah, still a little less sharp than when it came out of the box. And that's why I recommend addressing the edge as soon as you buy a knife. Dress it up a little. Call it burnish, break it in. Put your own little edge on it. But visually, with the help of a microscope even, I don't see any issues whatsoever. Look at that tanto section. Beautiful. Holding up just a little, rounding off from working on that zip tie. Definitely a good knife. But here's the problem that I found. So I'll be honest with you. This is a showstopper for many people. Look at this. And listen. And one more time. Now, I have a fix if you stick around. Well, you're waiting for the hardness test anyway. So let's define the problem. As you can see, the pocket clip ends up on the locking bar here, and the milling is just as aggressive under it. And we're talking aggressive milling here. Look at this. This is pretty deep and sharp frog pattern, which I don't actually mind. It doesn't really bother you when you hold the knife. You wouldn't be cutting with it for too long before you start feeling it though. Aggressive, as I said. But see how it's smooth right here? I don't understand why they didn't just extend that smooth area all the way 1, 2, 3 rows over, and then there would be zero issue, because these pocket clips are actually pretty good. You know, on the Striders, I've carried several, they're pretty good. Except, of course, on the Strider, with the exception of a few models, this side is flat titanium slab and textured here. Now, on the gunner grip models, the texture is a lot less aggressive than this frog pattern. Now, let's jump into the fix. For starters, one screw removes the pocket clip. Nice and easy. And please note, it's a pretty short screw, maybe 1/8 of an inch long. And the clip just comes out like that and has this tab that prevents it from rotating from doing this. There are two fixes that I came up with. One is pretty easy. Get a little rubber O-ring or just a small piece of rubber, make a hole in it, and assemble it like so. Put it on that screw, and you know, just put the screw right back in. T8 does the trick here. That's the tip. And tighten it. Don't crank it all the way. So don't worry about torquing it all the way, because the rubber itself serves as a locking feature. Because there is a pressure onto the screw head, it will not be tending to unscrew with use. Now, what happens, two things. For one, it raises this area a little bit above the texture. And secondly, now when you put it in a pocket, that O-ring compresses a little bit and allows it to move a lot freer, or with a lot less effort than before. So let's look at it in pocket. No assist. See, a lot easier, right? Let me do it again. No assist. Boom. Out. Very nice. And if it's still too tight, like you're wearing thick jeans, now it's a lot easier to get this out of the way and do it like this. Very easy in and out. So the second option, I removed the O-ring and the pocket clip. And I'm going also to remove this frame screw. Okay. And for that you need another 3mm screw. Let me show you the size of it. I started out with a 10mm length. This is C2.92mm. It's 3mm screw. And the length that I came up with is 8mm. Don't worry about 0.27. 8mm would do the job. It'll be plenty long. So you can save these for future needs. And what else you need is a little plastic or rubber washer. 10mm. Doesn't matter as long as it fits 3mm screw. Could be 3mm. This one I think is 5. Yep, 5mm. Doesn't really matter. And so now you're going to place the washer over that hole. Bear with me now. Don't yell. Don't stress. It will all work out in the end. And you start the screw in there. And with this length, it has plenty of thread engagement. And it goes in where it needs to go. Okay, now this is what's happening here now. You see the tab where it actually engages the frame right there? I almost wish they made the frame just a hair longer or made this tab a little longer so that it would engage better. And here you can torque full up, 20, 22 inch-pounds. It will still move a little bit because this doesn't lock. That's an opportunity the manufacturer missed to make a little locking feature for this tab to stay in place. Like they could have extended this handle just by the thickness of this pocket clip. What is it, a millimeter, maybe even less, and make a little slot for it. And now you have a deep pocket carry, and look where this part ends up. It ends up directly above the smooth portion, so you wouldn't even really have to change the milling pattern. Now, like I said, it moves a little bit if you choose this route. I carried it for 2 days like that, and I didn't have any issues with this moving. It just sat there because I'm not wiggling the knife in my pocket. And actually, when you grip it, now for at least my hand, it ends up, you can see right here, goes over this hump here, and it's right there, so it's more out of the way than before. I am really comfortable with that, and that would be my preferred option. But if you don't want to do this, if you can't stand the little movement here, don't do it. Here you go. Unassisted, goes right in, nice and smooth. Engagement good, it's not going to fall out, just like not going to slide right out. It still has plenty of grip. Works even better with jeans. I still feel a little grittiness going in, but it's also easy to assist with your index finger. Before every hardness test, I verify the calibration of my Rockwell tester. And for that, I use this independently certified, serialized, and rated 62 HRC calibration block. Initially, I used the factory-provided calibration block that came with a machine from the People's Republic of China, and it matched what their documentation said. But I get much more consistent results from this calibration block because while it's also made in the People's Republic of China, Phase 2 is one of the most reputable companies in the hardness and testing business, and so their blocks are known for consistency and precision. Just to be certain, I ordered an independently certified block, which cost me about twice as much. In the description of this video, I list the ways you can support my channel, which so far has been a money-losing proposition. But I consistently get 62 HRC, as you just saw, plus or minus 0.2, 0.2. All that said, testing one sample out of a batch of blades is never an industry standard method. At least 5 blades would have been tested if a factory was striving for this type of accuracy and precision. So what you're getting from me today is the hardness of this blade. Therefore yours can be harder or softer than mine. And so the first poke gets 61.2 HRC. For this steel, CPM 3V, this would be considered a high hardness range. We'll talk about it a little later. But I want you to know that I'm going to take an average of at least 3 pokes, specifically because I don't have 4 more blades to test from the same batch. Personal opinion time, CPM 3V is my absolute favorite steel. 61.4 on the second poke. Very consistent. Why is it so? Because this steel has the entire range that anyone would ever need for anything they would do with a bladed tool, even though it's not considered a corrosion-resistant steel. We got 61.9 on a third poke. That seems a little high, so I'm going to do one more just to be sure. All right, so I'll put it this way. If you have a large, long, heavy fixed blade, this steel will be ideal heat-treated between 58 and 60 HRC, because at that hardness, it's extremely tough. It's basically a tool steel, which is also a spring steel. And this third poke, being 61.9, puts us in the range between 60 and 62 HRC, which is absolutely ideal for an EDC pocket blade, which is more likely to slice than pry or chop, while its DLC coating will protect it from corrosion. Reviewing a Strider knife is hard enough because of a certain controversy associated with the name. I'm not going to talk about it here. Go to your Google or AI search engine and type in Strider knives controversy. Adding the fact that this is manufactured in China complicates things as well. But for less than half a price, and the quality is there, then why is it so controversial? I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments, and I'm looking forward to reading all of them. Remember to be polite. I reserve the right to block you if you get nasty toward me or my viewers. Have a good day.